In this lesson, we'll talk about rhythm. Rhythm, as we know in music, also marks the pace of the piece itself. In design, we do the same. A silence could be compared to space, and volume could be compared to size. Smaller size for a lower volume, and a bigger size for a louder volume. I'll show you in this piece how I use rhythm. In this piece, I have treated rhythm using the horizontal rhythm and the vertical rhythm. I have divided this piece in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 horizontal pieces, followed by the vertical rhythm in here that is marked by the font choice. In this case, is a condensed, taller font, but it's quite bold. And in these parts in here, I'm also treating it in diagonals, really breaking the rules and bringing those uppercases to smaller point sizes so we have more contrast and pace in the legibility of the piece. These parts in here, you see that I'm treating as almost as silence, so you're dragging the last vowel or the last syllable of the word a little bit longer to continue to the next word and finishing with a smaller type size. Then we go to the diagonal here, followed by the cheerful word, and then a little bit more rhythm and being more playful and indifference. Finishing with the to difficulty, which is using 2 lines in here and strongly finishing with an uppercase. Similarly, as I've shown you in this course, I start by having something to say, the message, and just drawing some doodles and dividing the composition. In here, I was really inspired by the format of this piece of paper, and then I started by breaking down the message into all the lines. Then how I really made the design choices in here. I wanted to have something with more rhythm, but I also wanted to challenge myself and how I integrate shape and format with the rhythm of the piece itself. I wanted to have more playful solutions, a bit more of breaking the rules. I wanted to have the less amount of digital sources to compose and design my poster. With the width and measurements of each of the blocks, I started just placing each of the letters as word blocks, and then I started drawing them. The secondary part is having contrast between the 2 lines in here, which will also increase the rhythm of my piece. Those bars that we have in positive and negative, positive and negative, positive and negative, they are rhythm itself. In here, we're also not having rhythm based on shape or format, but also we're informing rhythm with the color by using the change of black and blue, black and blue, black and blue. So these changes in between the composition are having a pace themselves. In this case, we're just using one font size that is marked by the width of one of the blocks in my composition. What is changing is just scale, and this change of scale is also giving us a rhythm. From big letter to small letter, there's some rhythm there that we want to keep consistent from the top to the bottom of the comp. Using music as an analogy again, if you think of the silences and how are the space between each of the notes. In typography, what we're doing is the space of the characters, but also the space between the words. With the use of rhythm, we can also invite the reader to be more engaged with our designs and compositions. It's a great strategy and tool to increment the engagement in the design. With this piece, I invite you to read it, maybe in your room, and start identify the rhythms and the tone of voice this piece is meant to be read. There is no right or wrong, but it's a great exercise to also inform the tone of voice that you want your pieces to be. Because the intention on this exercise was to remove all the spaces between the letters, between each of the words, and creating some sort of puzzle. My decisions of what to make smaller or bigger were based on the spaces between the shapes. If you remember spacing as we treated it, we were talking about straight and straight, straight and regular, irregular and circular, and all these body types and shapes. With this exercise, I actually wanted to remove all that to have a puzzle-like composition. With that in mind, I removed all those simple spaces between them, and the L and Y, that's why it's casting the O inside, the L and Y with a T, the C and E with a H, the F and L with a U, and in this case, even the E and N followed by the C and E. In this way, the whole composition, it feels even and more control in terms of the letter spacing and the spaces between the lines, giving horizontal and vertical rhythm. Because we're treating rhythm in these compositions as a general concept, I think it's worth to mention that rhythm is also used in web design and editorial design. We're also talking about horizontal and vertical rhythm with the use of columns. In editorial design, we have column 1, 2, 3, and that's the rhythm itself. Or the text between the lines, that's the horizontal rhythm. These are elements that are important to understand and practice, as well as practice them outside those disciplines and creating your own pieces. Now that we have completed this unit and we have learned the last concept on the list, we're ready to work with typography, and that will be our next lesson.